We just did the benefit of antigen-antibody interaction, and I noticed in my notes there's one other point that's rather. Well, I'm going to emphasize something else right here. I'll tell you that it stimulated phagocytosis. Well, evidently, there's a binding site on this antibody right here where the macrophage can recognize, and it's down below the complement activation. So there's a binding site right here for phagocytosis. So it's recognized by the macrophage, not the neutrophil. Kind of interesting right there. But I thought I'd add the fourth region of the antibodies right there, okay? So if you can't draw it, then you go ahead and label it and tell me these four parts of it right there that we have right here. All right. Primary and secondary response. What this is, on figure 22-24, primary and secondary response. Primary response is when you get a shot, okay? You haven't been exposed to it. Maybe it's a flu shot or something that you take. If you haven't, you will a little bit later on. That's the way I do. I take a flu shot every darn year right now. I'm quite a bit older than you. I don't want to succumb to the flu. I damn sure don't want to succumb to this damn COVID-19. But that's a different story. So your first response right here, the initial exposure to an antigen right here. What I want you to do is, it takes about 2 weeks. It takes 10 days to 2 weeks for antibody production to sharpen, to max out, okay? The second time that you're exposed to it, the secondary response right here, the difference is you're going to get a shorter response time and you're going to get a much more rapid response. So the difference between the first exposure and the second exposure, the reason you take a shot, travel to a foreign country, you get your shots updated. Remember in Vietnam, God almighty, I got my shots. So anyway, primary versus secondary right there. The secondary response is a shorter delay between exposure and antibody production, and a much more and a lot more antibodies produced during the second response. That's the difference between primary and secondary. Okay, 10 days to 2 weeks for the first exposure. Okay, now how do you acquire immunity? Well, you get a shot. Okay, now we talked about active and passive immunity. Passive is where you're given antibodies, but that's not long term at all. And some of these antibodies can last for years. I remember in vet school, I got vaccinated for rabies. Had never been exposed to it. 3-shot series, $50 a shot, $150 right there. And in my senior year in vet school, we had a case of a foal that came in. The foal was crippled, probably 3 or 4 days old, and the mare came with it. And people milked the mare and fed that foal, kept that foal in there, but they put the head in the lap and they fed it or anything. I never did do it right there. Well, the foal died. People thought, well, the mare had stepped on the foal and broke its back because the foal could not move. During the necropsy, the pathologist could not find any fractures. During the necropsy, he sent the brain off to be checked for rabies. The damn thing came back rabies positive. There was a panic in vet school right there. I wasn't worried because I'd already been vaccinated. There's about 4 of us that were vaccinated. And the rest of them, God almighty, what a panic right there. I don't know how many damn shots were given right there. But when you have all that foam in your hand and you touch your face, you're going to get the damn rabies virus. So I don't know the outcome of that. Okay, how do you acquire immunity? What's in a shot? That's why we're at here. What's the contents of a shot? Well, since most of these vaccines right here against shots, they come out. Since most of the vaccines are against viruses right here, you can take a live virus. Like the flu virus is a live virus, okay? You can take a modified live virus, an MLV, modified live virus. I'd like for you to write down modified live virus right here. Or attenuated, same thing as attenuated, equals attenuated. Or you can take a killed one. Or you can take a killed one. Or if it's a bacteria, you take some bacterial fragments. Bacterial fragments. Bacterial fragments, okay? So one of those 3 right there, one of those 4 combinations, only one of them It's what's going to be in that shot. Okay? That's the way that you acquire immunity. Which defense mechanism is activated first? Well, what I want you to look at right here, defense mechanism activated first is figure 22-25. 22-25. You're going to see that the neutrophil, to the left right there, is what's activated first. Second right here is the natural killer cells. Just look at the chart, you're going to be fine. The neutrophils are first, the natural killer cells, and last is the antibody production. Last is the antibody production itself. Okay, the antibody production itself. Describe one of the following that we have right here. Let me give you a page number to turn to. Figure 22-28. 22-28. I'd like for you to tell me something about interleukins. You're going to see cytokines, interleukins. Interleukins are molecules produced by leukocytes, by the white blood cells is all it is. Excuse me, by the white blood cells. So tell me something about interleukins, IL something right there. Tell me something about tissue necrosis factor. It's on the next page right here. And tell me something about interferons. So I've scratched out leukotrienes, and I've substituted interferons. So something about each one of these concepts right here as far as molecules produced in response to an antigen. Okay, that's what that it is. Okay, autoantibodies, autoimmune disorders. Let's name an autoimmune disorder where the body attacks itself. Rheumatoid arthritis is a very crippling disease. All right, my neighbor had it. His hand looked like this right here. That was open. That was closed. He couldn't do a damn thing. His hands looked just exactly like that. And he had rheumatoid arthritis. Okay? Lupus is another one. Lupus is another one. All right? So there's named 2 autoimmune disorders. But how does it happen? How do autoantibodies result? Why do we produce antibodies against our own healthy cells? Well, to me, there's only 2 categories that are the problem. There's something wrong with the production of the antibody, something wrong with the production of the antibody. The antigenic determinant site recognizes something that it shouldn't, or there's something wrong with the host cell itself. It's producing something that it shouldn't. The antibodies are normal and the host cell is at fault. The host cell is at fault and their antibodies. There's something wrong with them, or a possible combination of those 2. That's what I want you to get about autoantibodies, okay? Type 1 hypersensitivity. Let's take a look at hypersensitivity itself, all right? Give me my glasses right here. Hypersensitivity. Okay. Now there's 4 different types of hypersensitivity. Type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Type 1 is an immediate hypersensitivity. Somebody said they're allergic to peanuts. Kids eat a peanut and they die. And they die immediately, okay? We're talking about within a few minutes, okay? They have a massive release of histamine right there, massive vasodilation, massive increase in fluid, interstitial fluid right there, and their throat swells up and they choke to death, okay? From eating a damn blame peanut. There's a protein in the peanut. I've actually heard that there are GMO peanuts, genetically modified organism peanuts right there, where the protein has been eradicated, removed. So somebody with a peanut allergy can eat peanuts. Type 1 is immediately, type 4 is delayed. Type 2 and 3 are in between right here. Let's take a look at type 1 autoimmunity. All right. So here a person is exposed to an antigen, whatever that it is right there, that you're going to be allergic to. You're going to have an allergic reaction right there. So we're going to have a T cell, antigen plus a T cell right here, is going to, or a B cell. T cell is going to activate, helper T is going to activate the production of antibodies. All right, on the B cell, All right. Now, the B cell is going to divide and produce a plasma cell. The B cell is going to divide and produce a plasma cell. That's what its function is. And the plasma cell produces antibodies. All right, and this is the first response. From the B cell right here, B cell produces antibodies right here. B cell produces a plasma cell. plus memory cell. Right? Now, plasma cell produces antibodies. Plasma cell produces antibodies, and the antibodies fasten to the host cell. Right? Antibodies fasten to the host cell. Hang on just a second, all right? Excuse me.